Alrighty guys, welcome back to another commentary from a D-list black belt. We've got a bit of a throwback match for you today from Nicholas Meregali versus Cyborg. Firstly, before we begin, thank you so much for all the support, guys. Up to 78 subscribers now, last time I checked. And also, I tried to upload a super fight between Gordon and Galvao, and apparently I misrecorded that without sound. So that's an hour and a half of my life I'm never getting back, and I feel a little bit pissed, but that's fine.
Well, we might just check the recordings because it might just be an issue with the upload.
It's not. I checked already. I have to completely redo it. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll get that one out for you soonish, as soon as I have time to sit down for another hour and a half. But that's okay. In the meantime, we got a short one because I'm a bit time limited today. It's big boy Cyborg versus slightly less big boy Meregali, both very good. And I don't actually know when this match took place, but it looks like a fun one. So let's get into it. Obviously,
in the elimination round,
sorry,
Meregali.
mute that. The match starts, standardized grip fighting. Now, I really like this already, that they're not just rushing into it and they're respecting each other by keeping their grips free. To be fair to you, better you than me, Meregali. Looking at Cyborg, I'd probably tear me spine out of my back, Predator style, from the look of him.
He's got plenty of juice in it, mate.
How did you get so strong, Cyborg? Sit-ups, push-ups, plenty of juice. Mostly juice. Now it's hard work as well. Now, just to back up a little bit, Meregali seems to have his style of pulling guard, so it looks to me like he really favours same side, same collar type of grip, and that he's not necessarily worried by this disconnection with his hand on the sleeve before he pulls guard. Really good, because he's pulling Cyborg down as he's bracing on the hip. And then he'll be sitting around the corner as he sits down, hunting for the grip and then looking to De La Riva probably. Oh, the inside leg, excuse me. This seems to be his favoured style of attack because based on that match that I did a little while ago on... both of the matches I did of his a little while ago with Merino Woolman and then Hugo. What's his name?
Oh, you mean Victor Hugo?
Victor Hugo. Muniz, I think it was. Whichever one of those two versus Meregali. He's pulled guard in all three of these matches now with this favoured grip. And so I like this because what he's doing is he's forcing his opponent to play his game, which is good. And then, like, at the level that these guys are at, if you're more familiar with your game, you want to be making someone play what you're familiar with, not what they're familiar with, because that will mean the difference between winning or losing. So he pulls guard, and then you can see already he's got himself a latched. He manages to get the grip, and he's got same side collar grip. Now, what he's really good at is you see his posture, how his head's off the floor, his hips are off the floor. He's really good at attacking this near side arm, and Cyborg's done a really good job of getting his bum low and his base wide, and then this is okay posture in this type of position because he's putting pressure in through the knee, and so the arm is not really readily available for the attack, especially because the elbow's pointing downwards, it's not flared outwards, and so good sort of leading into the spiderweb by Meregali, good leading into the defense by Cyborg. Now it looks like I actually got it wrong. It looks like he did go opposite side collar and grip, but he's transitioned now and he's going high elbow, and hunting for the other side sleeve, which is kind of what you want to be doing. My preferred is other side sleeve and same side leg of the De La Riva hook, because I find it easier to hunt for sweeps from here. But of course, same side collar also works because you can look to transition to the other side and attack the other arm as soon as you have the sleeve grip, which again, Meregali's bread and butter seems to be omoplata style attacks. You can see how he was going for, same side. So now Cyborg's trying to free the gi here, because there's a fair bit you can do to like overwrap on the arms, or wrap to the outside on the arms, go around the back, a wrap on the neck. It's a good control grip. There's a bunch you can actually do with this. You can use it to punch into the hip as well. It's a very good control. So it's something that Meregali is allowing in favor of trying to keep on grabbing the arms. And you can see that these guys are such high level that they're hunting for grip fighting and so on and so forth on the only hand that mattered at the time, which was this one, because Meregali had the grip, Cyborg had the grip. And you can see like the posture battle came down and went back up. Meregali switched for the back control, Cyborg defended it, now he's re-grabbing the grip, and now they're grip fighting on the other side. So they're doing like a really good little skill battle, and Meregali is not allowing Cyborg to hunt for his sleeve grips. But what he does allow instead, as you can see, is the potential for the collar to go underneath the back to the other side. Now, that's not really a technique that I'm familiar with, but just thinking about it, it would pull Meregali off center and make it hard for him to shrimp out the other side, thus really limiting his mobility side to side. And then I'm sure that what would happen is it'd be very hard to omoplata the left hand here, and it would free up Cyborg's right hand to push on the knee and start passing, and then it would be very difficult from there. But again, I'm not the most familiar with gi wrap type techniques, but that's okay, because not every black belt knows every technique, you know. Now Cyborg's gone low in the guard to try and capitalize on this grip, but Meregali, I think, is his positioning with his legs is really good. Look how high up the back his knees are. We draw a straight line along his back as best I can with the mouse. You see that they're up near the shoulder blades. A lot of people keep that guard locked down low, because what happens is coaches go, right, well, when you re-guard in a closed guard, you can have a rest. And you can just sit there. And so you get lazy by keeping your knees down, like wrapped around the hips. But in reality, closed guard is one of the more active guards, and there is no such thing as a passive guard. So you need to keep your knees high, and your legs locked high, because that helps to pull the posture down and in. And now all of a sudden, I can't see where the hand's going. It's probably around the back. Or if it's in front, all of a sudden Merengali's threatening a pocket guard. But I'm pretty sure that Meregali has his hand in the collar grip here, and he's fighting with his other hand to try and work a choke, something like this. And so, because he's keeping his guard active, it's very difficult for Cyborg to start looking to break out of it, because he's got so much control over the top body side to side. Now Cyborg has to respect this grip. Too often, like this grip in his collar, because too often what happens is athletes forget that the basics exist, and a cross collar from a closed guard exists. And my first jiu-jitsu competition was actually a purple belt, and it was the state titles of Queensland and Australia. And I managed to win my weight division with a double cross collar from closed guard. Literally because the guys forgot that technique existed. So when I put the hand in on the collar, one of the coaches yelled out, "Don't worry about the hand, don't worry about the hand, he's just resting." And I was like, hang on a minute, that means that this guy's not going to respect this. So the other hand came in, karate chopped on the neck, and I just squeezed. And then one of them was super pissed with himself and his coach, and he's like, well, I kind of actually dead set didn't think that was going to work for you, but it did. So you need to respect this. And another anecdote is the other day, I was rolling with a purple belt student. I did not respect his hand in my collar, and he choked me like a bitch. And I've been training for 8 years longer than him. And so, you know, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. If you've got even the briefest hint of not respecting such a dangerous grip, you're going to get punished for it pretty quickly. So Cyborg's respecting it quite well, because he knows it will go wrong for him really quickly if he doesn't. And you can see the elbow on the outside lower allows him to pinch in, which mitigates a lot of the risk of this hand in the collar. And then the fight becomes on the other side, you know. But keeping in mind, you can still see how tall and effective Meregali's legs are. Now, he's still hunting in for the grip. He's still transitioning. You saw how his legs opened briefly. That's technically an open guard. If we break that up for a second. We'll try and pause it at the right time. There you go. This is technically an open guard, and you can see how Cyborg's starting to wedge the knee down. But it still could be technically classified as a closed guard, it's like a closed open guard, because the legs are still wrapped around in the closed guard type position, but it does give you more mobility to act within the closed guard. So it is technically an open guard now, but it's still close enough to the closed guard that it doesn't really matter. And then he's going to relock the legs and go from there. So there's like little micro battles, for lack of a better word. Yeah, and you could see this leg came up and over the top, threatening the omoplata. So Cyborg has to respect this, which elbow goes on the outside to pinch down rather than the inside to push down. And that's what allows the guard to relock. And then Meregali's hunting. You notice how he's hunting for this section of the gi. It's because holding on to the collar when someone's posturing up is difficult, but the grip on the other side, rolling the fabric in, usually makes a little shelf for you to grab onto. So you'll notice that Meregali was trying to hunt for the back of the gi where the fabric will be. And smart idea, because it's using the fat of your hand to choke. And someone with a thicker neck as Cyborg is hard to choke, you know. And so he can't quite get it. He hunts for it again. And Cyborg is starting to not respect the grip because nothing's been happening for a couple minutes now. But Meregali gets the grip. It's not quite set because you can see the jawline that can chisel granite is below the arm. He's got such strength in him. Like this is not slack in the gi. This is his tricep in the gi. Like this is his bicep in the gi. So the only slack is like here and here. He's gonna like punch down and reef his head up if he needs to, you know. So he's not respecting it probably as much as he should. And you can see that Meregali was trying to start working on, like his hand was across his face. He was trying to start working on wedging up, with like a flaring motion with his hand. Cyborg stands up to try and break open the guard, which he manages because it's difficult to hang off someone. But Meregali is once again back into his De La Riva style position. Beautiful sweep. Absolutely beautiful. Let's watch that again. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's watch it one more time, make sure I know what's going on. Very nice. Okay. So, Cyborg stands up to break open the guard. Meregali looks like this sleeve grip is broken, so he's probably on the inside collar. He has the other sleeve now, and he's going to lasso with his right leg. So he takes control over the heel, so Cyborg can't get away from him. This is the style of De La Riva that I like, where I don't have this disconnected personally. I always go underneath the thigh, but this would be Meregali pinching his knee in as well. Again, he's better than I am, so there's a reason why he's so attached instead of hooking, and he's holding on to the ankle. This is what allows him the time to disconnect with the other foot to lasso over the top. And now he's going deep with the lasso. He's on the sleeve grip now, but instead of going up tall on the back of the arm, he goes on the wrist, and he goes underneath the leg, which I find interesting, and I think Cyborg's probably not very familiar with this. Now that he's got a lasso and he's going underneath. Now, I often say, as crude as it is, gender don't exist in jiu-jitsu. If you're trying to control the other person, you need to go where the most control over their body will be, which is usually straight up the center. You know, so if we were androgynous, no gender, or anything like that, and social norms weren't as they are, you would always go in the middle of the body, straight up the middle of the groin. because this gives you the most amount of control to either side of the hips. And there's less flex. So if you're pushing on this part, the thigh will slightly rise because you're pushing on the hip. And then like your hips will start twisting, putting more weight on this side before you start lifting him off the floor. So Merengali's placement of his foot is absolutely perfect, because in high level competition, you don't give a crap about whether or not you're touching ghoulies, right? You just want to win. And so straight up the middle is a really good placement for Merengali's foot here, because now he's on the lasso. He's super connected to the hips, and you can see how backwards Cyborg is, because he knows he's getting pulled forwards. So he's like, he's in danger of getting sat down now. And you can see like the fold in his ankle back here, and how the space in the front of his toes. So his weight's really heavy backwards right now. So Meregali gets this like lasso inside Reaver wrap type thing, like reverse de la Reaver wrap thing, and he grabs onto the collar. Because Cyborg is so heavy backwards, all of his weight's in the feet, especially this one. Because he doesn't have a posting hand, he can't put his hand out on the mat somewhere out here. Because Merengali's got his foot right up the center, when he kicks tall and pulls in, Cyborg is now going that way. So 4 points that we speak about, this point is now no longer there. So he's going that way to the top, and Merengali's right, his left, rather than straight sideways. And what happens here is, because Merengali's put a foot on the floor, he now has lift with his foot, lift through his hips, so his hips will lift by pushing down on the floor. He's kicking tall and over the top as he's pulling over the top to the top right, his right. All of this combined, see how, because I said that all of Cyborg's weight was in his left leg, he pinwheels. This corner is going tall, this corner is going down, he's pinwheeling over the top, and he can't stop it because he doesn't have a hook now. The only thing he has is these feet, but because all his weight's here, it's hard for him to hop. And so all of a sudden, he gets swept in such a beautiful technical fashion, and Meregali goes for the armbar, but Cyborg is too experienced to not scramble. So from here, when he lands, Meregali makes a mistake, in my opinion, which is, oh, yummy elbow right here. I'm going to reach for it, try and swing, try and finish this match right here, right now. I feel like the play should be take the top foot off, sprawl out on top, sprawl the legs out, fight for a top position, win later, instead of going for a finish right here, right now. Of course, it doesn't look as stylish, sweep into armbar. It's not as good a highlight reel, but to be honest with you, that sweep was sexy as, and so I would be happy with that. But what happens is Cyborg knows what's going on, so he's pushing the leg out of the way, and he's like wrenching his elbow down using all of his effort right now. And then he manages to turn in. Meregali recognizes that the position's going lost for him. So as Cyborg's getting up, you'll notice that he tries to drop his right knee down. But because Cyborg knows this, he's wrenching up, and he like lifts his shoulder and elbow up, which stops Meregali from getting on top. So Meregali went for the finish, kind of fucked it up. Cyborg did stuff really well. He realized he fucked it up too late, tried to bail out too late, ended up getting counter-swept. And now we're back into a guard. And this is a difficult guard to play now, because Cyborg is stacked heavy on his toes going in, and all of the pressure's going through the shoulder in, and he's still got like a pseudo lasso wrap, and so all of his pressure is going through the knees, compressing them into Merengali's bum, and his head is going to be trying to smash into the chest now. And so all of a sudden, very difficult position to play, but he falls for what looks like, don't tell me this works, the idiot choke. Like, the idiot choke. This is cheeky. And this comes back to not respecting the grips. So obviously Meregali with his left hand there has a grip on the collar, deep in the collar. So as Cyborg drives in, Meregali allows it and goes in for the idiot choke. Flares his left elbow tall, dives his right hand in underneath his left elbow, and then tries to rotate back around the side with his right elbow pushing down to force the head further into the loop, which is around the neck. So his left hand is like this, in front of the neck over the side. The gi collar is around the front, and then this elbow flaring down will force the head into the loop, like so. And then that looks deep. That looks deep, and Cyborg goes into it because he doesn't respect it. So he's playing a game of chicken where he's trying to pass before he goes unconscious. It looked like he tapped there. Meregali realized too late, then he passed out. So what happens a lot when you lead with your head? Like what we saw. My coach used to say all the time, don't lead with your head because you just get like guillotined and idiot choked and all the rest of it. So that's what Cyborg's doing. He's leading with his head. What happens a lot is that you're told all the time at white belt, well, at least I tell my students all the time at white belt, don't sacrifice positional advantage for a submission attempt. This is an example of sacrificing positional advantage for a submission attempt. So if it goes wrong for Meregali, he ends up in the bottom of side, probably the bottom of mount, with nothing to show for it but burnt out arms. And now you got big pissed off Cyborg on top of you saying, fuck you, you're not choking me. And so he commits to it, and Cyborg's going, I reckon I can pass because both of your resources are committed to choking me, so I'm going to go and tense my neck and then try and pass your legs before you can choke me. And if I manage to get on mount and pummel upwards, you're not going to be able to choke me. Or if I manage to bring my head out this way, you're not going to be able to choke me. And then I'll end up on top, I'll be pissed off, and I'll say, yeah, you thought you could choke me. So it's a game of chicken between the two of them, really. And now the reason why Meregali can do this, and my students, and really all the rest of you cannot, is because Meregali is Meregali. He knows the rules, he can break the rules. Until you understand the rules that Meregali does, don't break them. And so you can see that Cyborg has a relatively easy time because his hand is on the right leg, other hand comes to the left leg, and he just wrenches his right knee out because Meregali can't stop him. He's not framing on the hips, he's committing to the choke, and you can see he's straining pretty heavy to finish this choke. Cyborg passes, gets to side, and then goes unwrapping the choke. He's doing his best to unwrap the choke because if he can keep rolling, he will come out of the choke and he'll come on top. And so he goes belly up, back down. Meregali doesn't allow this, and I think actually Cyborg's kind of out right now, and Meregali turns away. And what this does is it pulls the hand down, the choking hand down, and forces the locking hand. So both hands are doing the work choking, but the elbow that's locking the choke in forces up as the hand that's on the gi choking comes down by turning away. It's mitigating this belly up maneuver. What happens then is Cyborg tries to come back into it. I think he passed out just a little bit, or he's like in that dazed tunnel visioning, rolls back over and then taps on the floor, as you can see. Because he rolls back over to tap, Meregali gets the guard back. Let's see if he does tap. No, okay, he was just out. It just spasmed because out. So in this moment, Merengali's choke is so effective, and he turns away, he tightens it. Cyborg goes for a last-ditch effort and then passes out. And then it just looked like he tapped. And then because he passed out, he just rolled back over the top, allowing Meregali to get his guard back because obviously he's out. He can't do anything. And then he's kind of spazzing out. Meregali notices that he's out and goes, "Oh shit, how long have you been out for, son?" And then lays him down. And then Cyborg knows he's been out and he goes, "Oh, that was a good choke. Yeah, well done. What are you all doing in my room?" you know. And so, very respectful from the opponents. Cyborg is, you know, a class act, tough dude, but loves competing. He doesn't care a win or loss. He just likes competing, I think. Scary looking dude. And then very, very, very tidy choke from Meregali. Personally, do not agree with the decision to go for it, because if that goes wrong for you and you've got a big pissed off Cyborg on top of you, you're going to have a bad time. But it worked out for a young Brazilian stallion, authentic #1 grappler. This time, and he was just better on the day. But again, that did look convincing with that sweep, and I think probably Meregali is much better than Cyborg now, and so it was a very good win, to be honest with you. Well, that's the match, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. It's just a bit of a short one for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully the audio source works this time. Otherwise, I'll be sad again. Now, if you enjoyed the match, if you enjoyed the commentary, please leave me a like, a subscribe. It really helps me out. We got 78 subscribers now, so it makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. And I want to break 100, which would be cool. As always, if you have suggestions for how to improve the channel, I'm looking for feedback, and I'm looking at potentially posting instructional videos. I know there's 1,000,001, but it'll just be my own personal take, and it'll help me teach you guys as well, and it'll help me develop my own teaching skills, which would be good. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. Have a good rest of your day.